Welcome to my second art talk. I'm going to be down two other people today, but I'm going to try to talk through the process of the basic landscape here. I don't usually talk while I'm doing my art, so this is going to be interesting. The last one was just me talking over the sped up version of the finished speed paint. So here we're just going to start with, oops. I think I'm going to try to simplify it a little bit. I'm going to start by just doing a basic fill. I usually start with the monochromatic, black, white, gray, and then I usually add the color in later, depending on what I'm trying to do. If it's a landscape, I usually just go in later with the color, and then that way I can focus on the shading and whatnot first. Usually at first I just kind of throw in random whites and grays. I think I'm gonna do just like a mountainscape kind of, generic. You can use the level command. I'm using Photoshop Elements 8, I think. It's just what came with the computer, so I just got really good at it. I think most Photoshops come with the level tool, so you can just use that to make the lights lighter and darks darker. So I think that's probably fine for, background. I'll probably add some clouds in later. We can build a mountain range. I'm just using a rectangle shaped tool with some slight fringed edges. So you can literally I'm just going to build this range over here. Hopefully my computer doesn't lag too much. A lot of it's just getting the basic shapes and then sort of simulating the atmosphere over it. That's how I like to think about it. I'll probably try to add in some music over this. That way when I'm not talking, it's gonna be, at least it'll not be as boring. I didn't think about that until now. Alright, so that's kind of basic. Sort of horizon line mountain. Probably go ahead and grab a basic, I just call it the fuzzy brush because that's what it is. Big, basic fuzzy brush. Just wrong color. Yeah, we're gonna just lighten up the background a little bit, make it a little bit more hazy. Alright, so now we got the far background. We can actually just start adding to it in front. After the mountain layer, I kind of like to add a sort of flatter, also darker. Oops. There. If you haven't noticed, I like doing landscapes for most of my speed paints I upload, so mostly because they're simple and it's really easy to get a good looking result out of it. Okay, so now we have like some hills in front, and then what we can do is create a foreground. I think I'm going to make it just some rocky flat area. Let's just start with the brown. This is all with the same brush. mind you. Every now and then, if you want to get back to your levels, you can just kind of slightly darken up the entire thing a little bit. Every now and then I usually will jump to that and try to make it a little bit more interesting, add some shadows. Okay, so now we kind of have the foreground, like sort of the ground established, so you can even go darker. Basically what I do is at least what you should do most of the time is, depending on what your background color is, you want to take that, and then as you go closer to the foreground, you get darker generally, because the atmosphere is making a filter. So I'm going to make some rocks here. Probably go ahead and make the zoom out a little bit. I increased the record frame so that you can see actually what's going on kind of in the corners and then the side. I'll eventually probably switch brushes to do some of the texturing, but yeah, some cliffs, just making the foreground a little more interesting, I think is. And generally I'll add something going on, like this will set up the sort of the environment, and then I'll add, you know, whatever dragons or robots or something going on. And okay, so I'm actually doing this on one layer, which is probably not the most practical thing to do. But sometimes if I don't feel like bothering with the layers, I'll just go ahead and do it all in one. Because technically you could have, for each of these layers, you could have a layer for the mountain, a layer for the hills there, and then a layer for the foreground. But like I said, it really doesn't matter too much, especially for this really simple landscape. If I was doing more architectural kind of looking stuff, I'd probably go in and do everything, especially if you're gonna go ahead and start a big part of your painting on like let's say you finish the background and you want to go ahead and add a spaceship or some big object in the foreground, then I'd probably start that on a new layer. Just in case it doesn't look good, you can go ahead and blow it up. Okay, so now I'm just going in on each sort of layer of hills and mountains and adding cliffs and more interesting sort of shapes to the scenery. Every now and then you can sort of go over some of the background things with this big fuzzy brush and make it look like there's atmosphere over it. If you want to do it too much, you don't want to lose your mountain there. Alright, so now I basically have where I want it. And an effect that I found looks pretty neat is, I do this in a lot of my paintings, is you can like take this cliff over here on the right side, you can go ahead and to sort of add that atmospheric and sort of hazy look, you can go ahead in the corners and start adding a sort of like a fog, or a, I'm not too sure how to describe it, sort of an outline, and it makes it look a little bit more like it's part of the rest of the scene. Make sure that you blend it a lot better than this. There you go. Makes it seem like there's maybe like clouds traveling through it or around it, sort of. I'm not not going to go into too much detail on these sort of rocks here, but you can kind of just add a little bit of a light effect on one side. I haven't really figured out my lighting here yet, which is probably not too good, but this is sort of just, this is basic landscape silhouette painting, just making these shapes with different levels on the horizon. I'll even do the thing that I did over here, I'll do it into the way back here on this cliff. Just add the lighter. I should probably know it. I don't remember what the what it's called, the lights and darks. I don't know if that's tone. My art teacher would not be too impressed with me right now. I should probably learn these things before I start telling other people how to do it. There. So now, I think that's fine. I like to add, depending on how much detail I have, I do like to add color first, most of the time, and then go in with the small details. So I think that's probably fine for the actual landscape bit. Let me just finish off this little cliff. Yeah, that's fine. And then, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into the levels and mess with that a little bit. That looks fine. So now the color, I'm gonna go ahead and add a photo filter, if I can talk. Let me think. I might just go with the blue sky. This is my favorite part because you can kind of just mess around with what colors you want. In a lot of mine, I do like a sunset, kind of generic, like a purple and orange, or a blue and orange. But this one, I'm probably gonna do just middle of the day look. Kind of get a turquoisey blue here. And you can change the level. Like this is almost no filter, and this is a lot, obviously. So I think that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of sort of a cloud thing going on, so that the sky isn't as boring. You can throw those in. They can be really simple clouds. This is all the same brush. I mean, it would probably be smart to switch brushes every now and then, especially depending on what you're doing. But I think in this case I can get basically the same effect with this one. Okay, I think that's probably fine. Just gonna go ahead and throw it behind the mountains here. What you can do is, I usually get the really thick, like upper part of the clouds, you know, like the big poofy parts, and then in this case, I'll just kind of fade as I go down, so it sort of disappears into the atmosphere. And it's probably fine. You can also add clouds in the foreground and give them a little bit of shadows underneath. But I think this is, I kind of like the big open sky here. This is probably fine. There. And then I suppose we should add something sort of a color in the foreground. You can take your gradient tool and then you can even do this with a brush if you wanted to, the fuzzy brush. I go to overlay with a color I want the foreground to be sort of a yellowish, I guess, or at least just not as harsh blue. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's a little bit too green. You might have to. This is the part that I have to experiment a lot with in my videos. You might see me doing this like 50 times until I get a good kind of look. That's not as bad. I might just go orange here. Let me try this window in here. Okay. That looks decent. It's just the foreground because the mountains in the back will stay that sort of blue color. That's fine. Trying to think about what I want to do with the foreground. First of all, I think I'm going to add some texture. I actually have just some texture brushes that I kind of manipulate around until it kind of fits with the surrounding rocks. Okay, so in this case I'm going to make a new layer so I can manipulate it around a little bit. So I'm just going to throw it in, and you can see sort of a rocky texture. Move it around a little bit, stretch it. That looks pretty good. I'll go in with the eraser, big fuzzy eraser, and kind of blend it in a little bit to the scenery. I'll merge that layer down, it looks fine I think. I might actually make this bigger. And I want to, oops, I made it on the same layer. I want to go overboard with this. You definitely can, you just want to make it pretty subtle. And this is even if you are using texture. You could just go ahead and paint it in. It might actually look better that way, even. Let me erase the part that doesn't fit. You might want to switch textures every now and then. And these aren't too hard to just paint on. Just going in with a smaller detail brush and just throwing in a few different colors, which I'll do eventually. Oops. So now I'm going to go ahead and then sort of make this mountain, or this cliff over here, up a little bit of texture. Let's see. See how it's some good at some point. Let me rotate it a little bit. I can't get this to look too good. Let's just kind of go with that. Oh, that looks good actually. Okay. And depending on what I'm doing, I actually will just go ahead and, okay, so for the mountains, I'll usually just do it myself. I have this kind of fine, thin brush that I'll use, and then you can actually just change the width. I like to do the mountains with a really thin brush. And zoom in here, do my navigation up. There we go. I'll grab the light, snow color basically. And in this case, since this is kind of a bigger thing, I'm gonna make a new layer just in case I don't like how it looks. I still don't really have a good lighting. I guess maybe from, I don't know. It doesn't matter so much. You can just kind of throw some snow up on there. And this takes a few tries sometimes, but just sort of that's alright. And this also adds some depth to your landscape. Plus, makes it more than just the flat sort of silhouette based look. That's probably just about fine. I might go in with the texture brush just to add some like slightly more realistic looking snow. Just scatter it on there. Push and go lower. And as you get lower down the mountain, you can actually get it looking lighter and lighter as the snow kind of, I suppose, melts as it gets lower. just higher. That's probably fine. And then on the opposite face of the mountain, you also have a light sort of coloring in. Oops, that's too much light. There we go. And just show that there's snow on that side. Really emphasize the peaks of each little mountain too when you do this. How does that look? That's alright. I can go back in the texture tool. In this case, I'm just gonna basically stretch it across this face of the mountain. And it shouldn't overpower any of the details. So I'm gonna actually just erase most of it and turn down the opacity on the rest. That's fine. One more. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm gonna actually go ahead and add some. I'm going with the lasso, and if you feel like you're lacking, like I don't think there's enough sort of mountainous stuff over here, so I'm actually gonna probably go in and add a bit of a see how that works. Just make it a lot like the shape of the mountain with the lasso tool. I might just go in with the fuzzy brush. See how this looks. Oops. Alright. There we go. I'm just gonna throw in some more snow. If the foreground of whatever's going on in the foreground isn't that, or if it's more important than what's in the background, I'd say like you don't have to go this far. But if your whole entire piece is just, I'm not gonna add anything to the foreground, I don't think, so I'm just gonna throw in a little more snow. I think that's probably good. Another good tip is flipping your entire picture every now and then, because then again it gives you a different perspective and it opens up areas that you can fix or change. I'm just gonna fix little details that look off, or alright, so now I guess we can shade the rocks in the foreground. I want to add some grass actually, so I'm gonna see if I can actually do they're just gonna go in with this sort of grayish green color. You don't want it to be too, you don't want it to contrast too much with your blue. Otherwise it won't look as realistic, or that might even be too much. I'll make my brush bigger. Right now it's flattened to heck. This can just be added on top of the rock faces. I might actually just switch back to my sort of simple brush. You gotta mess around with your colors, and then you'll find a good green that'll work. And then as you get closer to the foreground, you can actually just work with a much brighter green. So there's almost no filter at this point. This looks a little bit clustered and weird, but I'm kind of going for like a scattered sort of mountain grass. I don't know. Since I made this on a new layer, I can lower the opacity a little bit. That looks alright. then I can go back and over that. Do some of the highlights. I guess my lighting is kind of coming from over here, so I'm going to just kind of follow that as best as I can. Alright, so now we're just about done. Might go over some of this here. Alright, so now I think you can go in and add some reflection on the mountains here from the sky, so you kind of just, I guess the best way to do this is just kind of follow the shape of your cliffs, and it's sort of like reverse shading, I guess. You're kind of just like going on the back of your cliffs. To show that it's sort of reflecting back the brightness of the sky a little bit, I guess. And go on the front a little bit. And that also adds the sort of 3D space. Gives a lot of dimension. Yeah, I don't mind. It'll look good a little bit. And then even lightly, if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and add another, oops. Right now and then when I try to use the eyedropper tool, it just doesn't work. Okay. Might lower the opacity on this and add a sort of slight layer here. You almost don't even notice it at all, but it sort of reinforces that atmospheric lensing, or whatever it's called, I don't know. Okay, so I think coming up on half an hour here. I want to play this in real time, so I'm gonna say this is probably good. Kind of basic. The grass looks a little bad, but I'll highlight it a little bit maybe. Yeesh, I don't know. Probably should have added just more in general, actually. Okay, so I think this is a landscape one. I'll probably go into using the perspective grid a little bit, maybe in the next one. I forgot to put grass on this rock here. And then, so I do like using perspective grid a lot when I'm doing my sort of sci-fi stuff. I think it looks okay. And then, of course, you could always add your super obligatory person, like standing up here to give a scale. Of course, this person's probably not going to be very proportional at all. Maybe like that, and then go ahead and make their arm, just like going out on their hip a little bit, like so. Kind of a skin person. Damn. I'm not gonna shade him. Some grass around his feet though, maybe. Should the Rockies on. Alright. Thanks for watching. If you could actually go ahead and make a suggestion for what you want me to talk about next. I got some comments asking about the color, so that's basically, it's really just I kind of just do all the color at once. I throw it on, and then if I want to do like grass, the foreground, then I'll add that in by itself. But like for my last the last speed paint I did was the sort of like the sci-fi looking skyscraper city place, and that was all. I don't think I did any individual coloring there. That was just doing I think I did a purple overlay and then an orange, or I did a purple filter and then an orange overlay in some of the where the sunlight was coming down. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope to do a few more of these art talks. Hopefully I'll have the rest of the gang back in. That's he's a little bit more entertaining, I think. I'll see you next speed paint, or whatever I choose to do.